Okay, I think we'll just jump in and get started. If anyone else comes along, I'll keep an eye on the lobby and let them in as we go. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, let's do this one. Excellent. Okay, welcome everyone. So we're talking tonight about loop, grid, and filter bar, specifically about blog navigations for that. So this is the November 2023 Elementor meetup. We don't have anything planned for next month at all. So if you've got any suggestions, put them down in the chat. I'll have a think about them in the meetup as well. We'll have a think about what we can maybe do next month. What I'm doing in the WordPress Sydney one, I'm talking about in general WordPress and AI. So if that's something that might be of interest, then let me know. It could be a topic that I could cover here as well. But always love to hear your thoughts about that. What's the agenda? Try and kick off on time, do welcome introductions, what's new, cover what's new in Elementor, and then the main topic with some Q&A at the end. We're going to try and finish for 7 p.m. so you can get away and get a cup of tea or a glass of wine or some beer. Here we are. So this is the organisers. My name is Will. I am what would I call myself nowadays? A consultant and educator. So I've been a WordPress developer since 2006, 2007, using WordPress. I specialize just now in API and integrations, so connecting WordPress to other systems like Salesforce and ActiveCampaign, any CRMs out there. I do the middleware, the API that connects WordPress to and fro. So that's my specialty at the moment. I'm also spinning up some online courses about how to run a WordPress business, so look out for that a little bit later. Specifically, I've been using Elementor as part of my stack for about 3 years now. So Elementor and the Hello theme as one stack, and that's for people who just want to use drag and drop builders, but not really caring too much about speed and efficiency for that. So I find that the Elementor and Hello stack works really, really well for that. Otherwise, I'll use Generate Press and Generate Blocks for a more kind of Gutenberg block editor experience, a little bit faster, a little bit more optimized, but a little bit more specific training as well on that. Okay, that's enough waffling for me. The other organizer is Julia. She can't be here right now. She's actually in Italy. I think she's in Italy.
She's in Italy, yeah.
Moved to Italy now just now. So it's very difficult for her to jump on board, especially with the 9-10 hour differences for those. So she sends her apologies for that. And John, do you want to introduce yourself just now, or do you want to just wait until you're...
Yeah, just a quick 30 seconds, yeah. Most of you guys have heard from me before anyway. Yes, I am the graphic designer of this team. And I am still obsessed with Elementor. And I was just saying Will a few minutes ago, Elementor, I feel, just works the same way as Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator do, in that there's enough tools in there that I can do whatever I want. And I run my own design company. And basically, I can't remember the last time I designed a website without Elementor, because people will come in and they're like, can you use this? And I just went, nah, Elementor. Or they'll come in and the website's broken. And I'm like, let's just start again. We'll just start again with Elementor. And that's what I'm working on right now. That's called Travel Without Limits, which is a travel website. It was broken in too many ways. I'm just going to start again. Yeah, so there's my love of Elementor. Back to you, Will.
Excellent. We've got a code of conduct, as always. You can get it on the website. I'll drop it in the chat as well. It basically says be nice to each other. I'm sure we can all handle that for tonight. Now we'll kind of open it out to you to introduce yourselves. I forgot to say I'm drinking my big mug of decaf tea, and I've got a bottle of water here. The beer is chilling. So let us know a little bit about yourselves, who you are, how you use WordPress, Elementor, and more specifically what you are drinking tonight.
I'll start. My name's Kim. I'm from Newcastle. Warners Bay is the area. I mainly work on one website, our own, called sacredu.love. And we've built it up. It's a global community organisation. It's fine, James. So it's based on membership. It's based on subscriptions. Okay. It's based on running courses, classes. There's all sorts of things involved in it.
I'll send you a message.
Elementor I came across and I absolutely love it.
I'll send you a message.
Because it is drag and drop. I have no experience in the background of understanding coding or anything. So the fact that Elementor's brought in AI as part of it, that helps. I also use a thing called Yellow Pencil. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a CSS writer when you get stuck. So I have a lot of fun and games with creating this website. It's been going now for 2 years, just in its development and building. And I currently have a whole bunch of plugins, which over time I'm deleting and getting rid of. And it's still the numbers, I think, up to about 60, which do all sorts of things. So I'm very much on the naive side of what you guys, I believe, do. And it's just a journey of developing something. I have no interest in creating websites for others, but I really want to gain amazing knowledge for being able to understand this, even as it grows and we bring in other people to work on it. I want to understand what's happening.
Sounds like a good plan. Thanks for sharing, Kim.
Yeah, I'll just jump in. Yeah, so I've been running my own website business since I retired about 5 years ago. So I've got about 10 clients and 20 sites, all running Elementor, which I picked up about 5 years ago when I think Elementor was still about a year old or something at that stage. And yeah, been using it ever since, and that's been great. But it's actually interesting. I started WordPress back in 2010, sort of thing, doing writing your own templates as you do at the day. And I just picked up a new website job from one of my very first customers, where I originally coded a site for them that was very basic and probably took me a month to write all the various code. And now I'm going to design a fully whiz-bang moving, responsive site in Elementor, and it'll probably take me a day. It just got me thinking about that. Sort of like, how things have changed.
Excellent. Great. Thanks for that, Paul.
I may as well jump in as well while everyone else is.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm Murray. I've been doing web since like 95, 96, something like that. I think 97, I don't know, sometime around the mid-90s. Started with, Apache, MySQL, PHP, so all database, writing all the source code, Visual Studio stuff, and then coded right through till about 2010, 2012. I was teaching at a university in Melbourne, doing multimedia, user interface design, project management, all that kind of stuff, and found that it was just so much work, discovered WordPress, but the great thing with WordPress is because WordPress is written in PHP and I'd already been writing PHP, it was great because I was able to just hit the ground running, writing plugins, extending themes, doing all that kind of stuff. But I think the one thing that's really amazing with WordPress is that it's always expanding, it's always extending. I mean, it's got something like 17 APIs and I think it's possibly more than that now, maybe 19. So I've been digging into, like how to expand, how to extend it, kind of like what you're doing, Will, with integrations and all that kind of stuff. I've been looking recently at the REST API and really just trying to get my head around the REST API for sending information in and out of WordPress, looking at headless kind of stuff. But where Elementor is concerned, I've just been, just learning more and more about it. And then also using things like the advanced scripts plugins so that I can do a lot more PHP, JavaScript, CSS, SCSS kind of integration in there. And then also I've been using a bit of GreenSock to do some animation, which is very, very cool. I've been really liking GreenSock. If anyone else is into animation and making things pop and do things that you didn't think you could do, GreenSock is the way to go, GSAP. and it is just phenomenal, mind-blowing. A lot of the best websites in the world where animation is concerned are done with GSAP. So, and you can integrate it directly in with Elementor through, it's all it's a bit of JavaScript and that kind of thing, but you can, I've been using what is it? That AI, the really popular AI, which
GTP.
Thank you. I dropped out of my head. I've been doing that and that kind of thing to just help me generate some code really quickly, and it's incredibly accurate. And it's like, I want to do this and this and this. Bang, there's a code, drop it into advanced scripts, pair it up with some CSS classes, and then everything, you start scrolling, things start moving all over the place. And it can actually do a lot more than Elementor can do. You know, so it's very good. Anyway, I'm going to shut up because we actually came here to look at something else. So there you go. That's me.
That's great. Thanks, Murray. Can you drop a link to that animation thing in the chat so that we can all have a look at that
Definitely.
later on? That sounds quite
like
interesting.
A good idea. I'll do that right now. I'll get you a link.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll do that. So please feel free to keep going. And there's actually a really good showcase section in there, so you can go and see what it can do, and it will blow your mind.
Excellent. That sounds really good. Thanks for that. If I keep muting and get my camera off, it's because I'm sneezing with hay fever. So you don't want to hear me sneeze or see me blow my nose, I'm guessing. Okay, so a lot of Elementor updates. There's been a little bit of activity this month, which is good. So just released in November. We have Elementor free. So that's the free one. It always contains like most of the core features, so you can see the new stuff first in there. So we have 4 new things. So AI history, which allows you to have a look at what you've been asking AI to do within Elementor. So that you can always go back to see what you're doing. They have revamped the rating widget. They've made it a lot nicer, a lot more, the interface looks a lot better. What you can do, the capabilities is a lot more for those. But the 2 that I'm really interested in is Gutenberg asset loading and optimized image loading. So the last one, the optimized image loading, what they do now is they pre-scan the page before it's rendered with WordPress, and they try and guess the size and weight and location of the images. So it can prioritize which ones should be preloaded before being rendered out to screen. So hopefully that will further optimize the speed of web pages. But even better on top of that, they've actually been working with Google, the Google developers and the core Web Vital team. It's what's called a Gutenberg asset loading beta. So if you WordPress, the Gutenberg editor, the block editor loads a whole heap of CSS and JavaScript files, even if it's not being used. So what this does is it unloads those or tells them not to load, so that if you're just using Elementor on the page, then and you're not using Gutenberg, then none of those classes, none of those assets are loaded. So that should see quite a bit of a speed improvement as well. So really, I'm going to be testing those out. They're in beta just now, so you have to go down to the features for those, the experiments they call them, and switch those on. I'm going to have a good look at those 2 and see exactly what they do and see if it makes a good increase, speed increase. In Elementor Pro, again up to 3.17. Not a lot of stuff in there because you've got the 4 new ones in the base free version, but they do have so relevant to the talk tonight for John. So he's going to be talking about the loop grid widget. They've just added on an Ajax pagination for that. So rather than do a page refresh every time, it just does it automatically, talks to the server, gets the stuff back and changes the data on the screen without a page refresh. So that should be a lot quicker for that. And as always, there's a developers update on there as well that you can have a look at. It tells you exactly what's new, more specifically in 3.17. Here's a quick look at the roadmap. I've got August up there still, so sorry, that should be November. I'll change that in slides. But there's not a lot, nothing in beta version that they've added, although that should be those 2 things we talked about. Yeah, so planning, got conditional logic that they're going to put into the builder, the pro version. So that will be a big thumbs up. I think I currently use, there's a couple of plugins that you can do conditional sections at the moment, but if that's in core, that'll be good. Some more CSS selectors around them, just the way that you apply them and add them onto there. A little bit of the hosting side. And in progress, you've got the taxonomy filter. I think John's going to be playing around with that tonight as well. And again, they're hosting, upping their hosting game. For those, been quite a few people wanting new stuff on the hosting side. So that's where they are just now. I don't think you'll see very much change in that. People tend to wind down in December, so you'll probably see the roadmap pick up again in January, maybe early February for those. But it's always good to keep an eye on that to see where the product is going. And I'm going to hand over to John. And John, you can then screen share and kick off with today.
Okay. Thank you, Will. Right. Let's just see. I have two screens. I struggle with this one. There we go. Okay. Can everyone see this screen with Australia written on it? Cool. Okay. So what we are looking at today is two new features that Elementor have released recently that are still in some form of testing stage. So I'm still having a bit of a problem with one of them. So hopefully they fix that, or we'll fix that soon. But we're going to look at how they work. And the reason we are looking at these comes down to navigation. And navigation, as you well know, for every website is very, very important. And the reason why navigation is important, as I always say to my clients, there are 8 billion people in the world, and any one of those 8 billion people could be looking at your website. And it turns out that each one of them wants to look at something different. So in terms of navigation, you have to allow people to find anything they want. And the more opportunities you give, the more chances you give for them to find it, the better the navigation of your website is. What you don't want is them just to rely on a search box or something up here. You want them to be able to find it by using menus and stuff. And for those of you who were here for my last lesson 2 months ago, we were looking at this website that I run that's called Out and About with Kids. It is a travel website about traveling with your family. And it's been running now for 10 years. And as a result of that, there are over 1,000 blog posts on this website. And therefore, the navigation that we currently have on the live site that we're looking at now, it's not strong enough. It doesn't give people enough options to get around the website. So if we go to Australia and world, we can see these little drop downs. But they're not giving enough options to these people. So we can see just New South Wales, but we can't see beyond that. New South Wales is a very big state with a lot going on. So in the last lesson, what we did was we took a look at the mega menu, which is something new that Elementor have brought in, and we created this. So what this has done is massively improved the navigation from this tiny little drop-down menu to a very big drop-down menu that covers all of the main states and territories and all of the main parts within all of those. What that is helping us to organize is the way that we have categories set up on this website. We start off with a parent category. So in this case, that parent category is Australia. And then we have child categories beyond that. So those are the 8 states and territories. Then beyond that, which we haven't set up yet, we're looking at having sort of sub categories. So I guess you could call them grandchildren categories, which is inside New South Wales, that is inside Australia. You would also have Sydney, Dubbo, Newcastle, Byron Bay. Haven't got onto that yet. But what I want to look at here is something that we need to use on the Australia page, because, as I said, we have over 1,000 blog posts on this, and most of our website is about travel in Australia. So if a user was to go to this page, Australia, all of these blogs are here, and they just appear in the newest one goes up there in date order. And if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, there's about 20 different blogs on this single page. These are showing how many overall pages there are. There are 56. So if there's 20 blogs on every page, whatever 50 times 26 is, that is how many blogs that we have for Australia. Now, if I want to travel around Australia, I'm going to have a rough idea of where I want to go. But how do I split up what I can see on this page by state and territory? I can't. So that's why I'm looking at 2 new features from Elementor that are going to allow the users to do that. And that is the loop grid and the taxonomy filter. So this is the page that I'm going to rebuild. What I've done here is I've gone into my staging version of the site, and I've just recreated this whole page, and I have deleted this blog grid at the bottom. The blog grid that is used on here is done the traditional way, the old-fashioned way, if you will. So what I'm going to do here is rebuild this page to look the same way, but also have this extra nav bar above the blogs that will allow me to break down what is there into individual states and territories. So we need two elements to make this work. And these are the two that we are looking at. The first one is the taxonomy filter. So I'll drop that in first, then go back to my squares up here, and I will find the loop grid and drop that in below. Don't know if any of you guys have worked with the loop grid yet, but it's a very, very, very good tool. The beauty of it is that you make it once and then you can use it anywhere in your site. And then you would literally just go up here, you'd search for the loop grid, drop it in, and then it would say, which template would you like to use? So you can make multiple different ones as well. And you can even have two working at once. But what we're going to look at here is I'm just going to make a very simple version of it that's just going to look exactly the same as it does on the website. So this is our live page for Australia. We've put in the filter, we've put in the loop grid. I'm just going to save that. There we go. Then I'm going to click on here to create a template, because what this does is it takes us outside of the page and into the theme builder, which is where we can build this template to be used across the whole website. So what we have here, obviously on this page, we're going to have 3 columns, each showing a different blog. And what I'm doing here is just creating the design of one single column. And then when I go back into the main page, it will set it all up like this. So to create each column for the blog site, I have 4 things. I have the featured image at the top, then I have the post title, then I have the post excerpt, and then a read more button at the end. And the way I always set these up is users can click on the image or they can click on the read more button, and they will both take them through to that website. Just improves navigation because that's quite small, that's quite big. So I'm just going to recreate those 4 elements. And it's very simple. Click on your squares. First up, featured image. Drop that in. And it'll take a few seconds, but then it'll display. Then we want the title, post title, drop that in. Then I want the excerpt, post excerpt. And then I want a read more button at the end. And there is one option in here that is called read more. However, that can only be used on archive pages, not on a sort of live page. So it depends which kind of page that you're trying to make here. And as this is just a regular page, I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use a regular button. I'll drop that in at the bottom. So these are the 4 elements that I need that I'm using here. As I'm a designer, I'm just going to have a little play around with that and get it looking a little bit closer to how it was. So first of all, I'm going to click on the container, and I don't want this sort of white space around it. So I'm just going to take out all spacing on that. Image size is fine. For the title, I'm just going to click on that. It's automatically dropped in at H1. And you guys may know a little bit more about this than me, but I'm under the impression that you should only ever have one H1 on a page. And that would be the title of the page, which is, oh, I don't know why I just did that. I didn't mean to break that. Just trying to point at the title there. And that is Australia, which is the name of the parent category here. So I'm just going to change it to H2 to appear. Then just make sure the style is the same as I have on the page. Which is that condensed one, and then make sure that is uppercase. And my read more button that I have on here is a little bit different to that, but I don't have time to completely redesign that one. So I'll just write in read more and we'll use the one that's there. Okay, so what I've done here is I've created this template. It's as simple as that. And then I'm just going to click save and back. And when it loads, there we go. So what it has done here is it's created this grid showing me all of the blog posts that are running through that template. So this is all just live and it's all running in date order. So that's all set up. And if at any point I want to go in and make an adjustment to the template, I just click edit template, and that will change it on every column here. And also if that was used on multiple different pages, it would change it across there. Let's just say, like, you know what, overall, I've decided that this body copy is 1 pixel too big. I want to change it once, change across the whole site. But the first thing we're going to do here is just take a look at this blog grid, just to get it looking the same way it does here. For a start, it's only showing 6 blogs. So I'm just going to click on my pencil, edit loop grid. And then let's just say 12 items per page. And everything is lining up at the moment, but I'm just going to click on this equal height one to make sure that it is consistent. Everything lines up at the top and the bottom for each one. Then query. So this is currently where you choose what the grid's going to display, basically. And you have multiple different options here. You can link it through to different pages. But obviously, this is posts that we want to promote here. So I'm going to leave it on posts. Then what I wanted to include is just all the Australia posts, so all the ones that fall into the Australia parent category. So I'm going to click on this plus, click term, then write in the word Australia into here. And these are all the options that it gives me. Obviously, the word Australia has been used a lot on this website before, but the one that we're looking for is categories. So I'm just going to choose categories of Australia. And you may have other things you want to change in here, but this is just saying that it's using date all. So every post that we've ever made, and it's ordered by date, starting with the most recent one. Then the only thing I want to make happen at the bottom of this one is the pagination thing here, just where I have previous and next. So again, click on this link. And this is where you have the different options. And the one I want here is numbers and previous and next. However, you do have the infinite scroll option here. And I don't know if this was what Will was talking about with the Ajax loading thing. I don't know if that's kind of the original version that was there before, the infinite scroll, and they've now changed it. But it just means that as a person scroll down the page, it will show 12, and then it will just keep reloading the blogs. So you can just keep going forever. But I'm going to set it up to this one, numbers previous and next. So that is set up and almost ready to go. You can just sort of see one slight problem in here in terms of things lining up. And that is because I selected it to show the featured image. And at some point, whoever's uploaded post to this website has done some different size featured images. So most of them are 3x2, but this one's just very, very long and very thin, and some of them are square. So to fix that, let's go back into the template. I just remembered one thing I forgot to do. So the one thing I forgot to do was make sure that the image and the read more button actually go through to the post. Should have done this in the first. Wasn't on his head there yet. So, well, I'm going to change the size of the featured image anyway. So first of all, just click on your pencil here. The one thing I forgot to do, the most important thing, here it says link. Click on that, choose custom URL. Then over here on the right, choose dynamic tags and choose post URL. That just means that if anybody clicks on the image, it will send them through to that post, and that will be different for each one. Same on the button. Over here where it says link, again, click dynamic tags, post URL. Should remember to do that. And now all I'm looking to do is just to change the size of these ones here. Now that I've gone back into the edit of the template, it's actually showing me everything that's live on the page. So that's really good for me to play around with it. But if I just wanted to make this one a lot smaller, it would change it on all of them. So you can actually see what effect it has on everything as a grid as well. Just the image size that I want to change. So I'm going to go in here to the pencil, then click on style. Then I want the height. This is just on desktop, by the way. I'm not going to show you across all devices, but let's just set that at a standard size of 250 pixels. So they are all now that exact pixel height. So they're all lining up on the bottom. But as you can see from this, that either stretches images or squishes images. So the next thing I want to do is object fit, set that to cover. And there we go. even that's pixelated. Everything is now, every image is always 250 pixels high, and the image is just fitting it. So everything lines up. And from a graphic design point of view, that's very important. All your images line up, all the text lines up. So let's go back. So that's how kind of easy it was just to set up a loop grid. And I can now set that up all over the website. And this kind of goes back to, like, you know, what Paul was saying about, like, you know, you can make one in a day or something. I can make an entire website, a blog website, in about 5 minutes, because I just create that one template, use it on every page, connect it to all the blogs, have the same thing going on with a hero. Boom, too easy. So now we have that set up, we just need to do one more thing, and that is to change the taxonomy filter. And what we want is a nav bar that works the same way as the nav bar up here, but we want it to appear on every page above the blogs. So let's click on the pencil. First thing we will do over here on the left is select which loop grid. I don't know why it's not showing me that. That's supposed to connect to this loop grid. Worrying. To this one. Right, I'm just going to delete that one. I don't know why it's doing that. That should just say, hey, which loop grid would you like to select? And as we only have one on this page. Okay, I'm going to do the old reload sort of setup. Basically, that goes in because you may have more than one loop grid on a page, and then they are just named loop grid 1, loop grid 2 in order that they appear. So the only option I should get there is loop grid 1, but it's not allowing me to do that. Let's just hope that this works. Hey, there it is. It came back. Phew. I don't know why that wasn't there. Hey, look, Elementor does that. WordPress does it. Save it, reload it. So what we're doing here is we're saying that this filter here is related to the loop grid that is below it. So it just means that whatever you press in here will change the content that appears below. And you get to choose which taxonomy you want to use here. And you have two options, and that is categories and tags. I'm going to show you categories because what we have on this page is the parent category of Australia, and I want to show the child categories of states and territories. The other option is tags, and this is either something that I haven't done enough research for, or maybe something Elementor need to show me how to fix. Because if I choose tags, it's showing me that many tags. And again, I don't do any of the editorial side of this website, so I don't know why there are this many tags saved in here, but it's just showing me every single tag. And I can't think of a way of how I can narrow that down to just a handful of tags. I don't see that option inside this filter. If any of you guys know, let me know at the end of this. But if not, I maybe just need to ask Elementor, or maybe this is what they're trying to do because this is still in the testing stage. So let's do what I intended to do, which is to link the filter to categories. And there we go. That's a lot better. There's only 3 things there now. So what we have is 3 things, which is showing me all, which is everything we can see here. And then the main parent categories that are included in the grid here. One of which is Australia, and one of which, I don't know why, is uncategorized. You should never have uncategorized blogs. Again, I don't work on the editorial side of this, so that shouldn't be there. But all we can see is Australia, but obviously we want to see the child categories of this one. So I want to see all the states and territories. Very, very easy. Click here on settings. Then in displayed elements, where it says children, switch that on. And there we go. It's now showing me all the children of that main parent category. And it allows you to go as deep as you want to go here. So if, for instance, when we rebuild the website, we have further subcategories. So it goes Australia, then New South Wales, and then inside that you have Byron Bay, Dubbo, Sydney. I would just select that to show a double depth, so depth of 2. But what we want right now is just one child category. We don't want the grandchildren, basically. So that's what we can see here. Then one other thing that you can switch on or switch off is this one here that says first item. And that's why this word all is appearing here. And that obviously just allows users to see everything all in one go. But we don't need that because what it's doing is it's showing the parent category already, which is Australia. So I'm just going to switch that off because otherwise the buttons all in Australia do the exact same thing. Then one other thing that you could do, and this would in some way fix that problem I had with all those tags, is I can say how many taxonomies are going to show, but there was about 10 million there. And all it's going to do is just cut it down at the end. But all I actually want here, because I want to get rid of this uncategorized one, is I want the first 9 categories to show here. So that's Australia and then all 8 states and territories. So I'm just going to put the number 9 in there, and then uncategorized disappears. So that is now all set up basically. And what we have here, which I'll show you when I finish the design, is buttons that I can press that will filter what is shown on the page when a user comes here. So just from a design point of view, as I said, this is recreating my nav bar in the header. So I'm just going to play around with the design here and make it look like that. So click on style, typography, dense one. Then let's just get it looking exactly right. That's a little bit too heavy. Let's put that on light, maybe. That's the same weight, but text color should be black. There we go. Then as you can see up here, I have the teal color that appears when people hover, which is also when a page is active. So I'm just going to click on hover, change that to teal, active, change that to teal. And then as you can see here, this mini nav bar on my page works the same way as the regular nav bar, which is just very good from a navigation point of view because people will have already used this. Then they'll see this text. They know that if they hover over that, it will give them other options. So that's it. That's how easy it was to set that up. I've set up the taxonomy filter and I've set up the template, and then I have used this template here for all Australia posts. So let's click update and then let's have a look at the live page. When that loads, there we go. Preview changes. So what we currently have on the website is someone will come to my Australia page and go, well, I just want to read about things in New South Wales. Why can I not select that? They then have to scroll through and go, well, hang on, what's that one about? What's that one about? What's that one about? What's that one? What's that one? What's that one? They're not going to be able to find it. Whereas now they want to find out about New South Wales. They hover over here, they click on that, and what happens? Boom, changes it all to New South Wales. So we have Port Stephens, Coffs Harbour. I want to read something about ACT. Click on that, Canberra, Cockington Greens. Yeah, so it's as simple as that. And what it's doing is it's not sending people to a different page. So it's not sending them elsewhere. It keeps them on the page that they wanted to come to, and it just allows them to navigate their way around. So if they want to read about multiple different places in Australia, I've read about things about New South Wales, now I want to look at Northern Territory. There it is. It's as simple as that. So there we go. Any questions on any of that?
That was a really good job. Thank you for doing that. I think with the tags in the taxonomy filter, there's a little bit down below that says horizontal scroll, I think. And that's their attempt to, because tags, people put lots of tags and things. It's their way of trying to limit the number there. So if you do tags, and there's 1 billion.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you go in settings.
So that it's changed it because I've got it set as 9 in there. So let's just take that out.
Yeah.
So go back to what it was saying.
So horizontal scroll, you can enable. And that's their way of trying to control that amount of stuff. It's not ideal because you don't know if you really should scroll or how to scroll. Ideally, you should probably have drop down or some sort of way to control that a little bit better. But that at least is their attempt to try and, if you've got a huge amount of categories, a huge amount of tags, they kind of squash it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess all I do there is I drop in a little icon of an arrow pointing that way and an arrow pointing that way, so people can see what they do there, so they know to scroll. Yeah, that is better in that it's not showing everything in a massive block. However, it still doesn't fix the problem that there's a quadrillion of them. Yeah, I could be there. So I want to find something about zebras. Oh, hang on a minute. Here we go.
Yeah, keep going, keep going,
There
keep
for a
going.
while. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Cancel all my meetings. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Yamba.
I think it's like you've got, I mean, because looking at the whole tag and categories thing, I mean, categories is more a structured form of navigation, whereas tags is more organic. I mean, when I've had to explain to people the difference, like you're looking at all the different states, but just say you've got park and you want to have a look at all the parks in Australia, how would you do this? Whereas you could just have parks as a tag, but then you would have Victoria, where I am. You could go and look at Victoria, but then you might want to look at all the parks in Australia. So you would use tags to be a more organic form of cross-category search capability, whereas a state is more a structured form. So, but yeah, tags can get kind of out of control.
They definitely can, and it's just whether I could break it down. Because I mean, again, I don't. And there's over 1,000 posts on here, and it's been running for 10 years. Someone who made the first post may have used every single tag that they could find in the dictionary or something like that. So there could be 10,000 on that first ever post. And instead of like going through and trying to delete any of those, what I want to be able to do is just have sort of some manual power over that. It was just saying, okay, this is going to be a filter of tags. Can I just choose this tag, this tag, this tag, and this tag? I don't see why I can't do that yet. But what Will was showing us in the updates is that they're going to have like a sort of checkbox feature to this. That if I did have a page on Australia, and then on the left-hand side, I could have these checkboxes. And the first one could be pick your state or territory. And then I'll choose New South Wales. And then the next one could, in theory, be tags where it's like, would you like to find out about zoos? Would you like to find out about parks? Would you like to find out about swimming pools? And then I can click all of that. And then in theory, what is displayed is all of that. So that will hopefully allow me to do that. Because what I'm doing here, I don't know if this is possible.
Is there a query ID on that? Was there the ability to have a query ID on the
grid?
Well, there's on the grid, there'd probably be a query ID because I believe the data grid does use that.
Yeah.
But on the query bar, can you put a query ID on the filter bar?
I can put it in the link, obviously, but no.
Doesn't look like it is.
No.
Because I know you can, I mean, because like I've done stuff like that before where I've gone and used PHP to just query a page and then said, look for this kind of block element on a page and then return a certain amount or sort it by popularity. I did notice though, it did say it can hide empty tags.
Yeah.
So like there's probably a ton of tags there that are no longer being used. So it'd be interesting to go and see if you can go and get rid of any empty tags, and that'll probably drop down the amount that's there.
So I mean, that as I'm displaying this now, so that's already on hide. I don't want to show the empty item. So because even if I press that, well, look, you can see a hell of a lot more came in that has 12 apostles twice. One of them spelt wrong. Look, one says apps ottles. 2 days in Melbourne, 2 days. So that's why I've switched that off. And even with the ones that are included in the Australia blogs, there was already 10 million of those. But all I'm doing here, and I don't really know if this would work, but is I've done both tags and categories. But I guess that just gives me the option of choosing either one. So if I choose Australia accommodation, then that appears. But then if I select New South Wales,
you're connecting two filter bars to the same data set, data grid.
So hang on, so if I do it the other way around, let me just give that a try. I don't really know if that matters that it's the other way around. That's probably just
So you could create two, one with tags, one with categories, point them to a set of posts, and then actually filter both. Cool.
If I go, so here I have New South Wales. Then if I choose that and I want to find out about animals in New South Wales, then maybe it has changed that. Because if I turn off New South Wales, So those are two options there that I can choose both. And that's what they're saying they'll bring it into this checkbox thing where I can say, right, I want to read about New South Wales and I want to find out about animals and aquariums. I can only choose one at the moment, though. I don't know if it'll allow me the option to choose both. But there, as I clicked on aquarium, somewhere in one of these states or territories it is something about an aquarium. But because I've chosen New South Wales, it's displaying nothing. Because if I choose Australia, in theory, that should show something that has a tag of aquarium.
So you could choose a state and say, give me Victor, give me all kids activities, kids being a tag and Victoria being a state.
Yeah.
You could have a filter bar down the side of the screen, kind of like WooCommerce and all that, where you can filter your things and say, give me this state with this kind of post.
That would be excellent, wouldn't it? And then I can just choose whichever tags I want to go in there, which would not be 10 million things, but I make sure that all posts are tagged the same way. So if we're talking about animals, we use that word rather than just the word zoo or something like that, because otherwise then you have to do all want animals, do all want zoo.
Because you can do that with PHP. If you've got the idea that you can actually get it to return an array of IDs, which it just gets fiddly. As you said, it'd be so much easier if you could just go through and do it by name instead of having to find out the idea of animals. You go, just give me animals.
Yeah, that's it really.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, that's good that you can use both. I never even thought about trying that, but just because I saw the tags thing and I'm like, that doesn't work. But yeah, that's what I want to set up really. I think I'd have it that just down here on the left hand side, I'd have a filter bar and it'd be a drop down maybe. And then it's just like pick your state or territory. And then you can choose, because I do that on, I think I did that on another page using a plugin. This was a while ago I made this. It's the NRMA one. I think I had it so you could choose, it might just be choose state and territory. Yeah, I did, but I had it with this one where basically this was using a plugin. This was before Elementor bought in any of this. I made this about 2 years ago. But I can just say, find out more about our parks, and then you select New South Wales. But I think in that there was an option as well that I could choose New South Wales, and then you could choose sort of however you tagged it, basically. So if you said the ones that had water parks or something, you could choose that, and then it would just work the same way. So that is what I want to have set up for the Australia page. And for all states and territories, the way I have that on the left-hand side, and you can choose the state or territory. And then, as you're saying, yeah, if you want to pick water parks, swimming pools, anything like that.
But it's also good because it's reloading it, whereas some of the other plugins that I've seen do it, they just filter what's currently on the page. So as you've said, you've got 20 on the page, but if you go and click Victoria or New South Wales and there's only 2, then all of a sudden you're just looking at 2 posts. But if you actually refresh the content, it'll say, now give me back 20 posts.
Yeah.
That's this query. And then you can have to reload.
You want to be able to select and deselect things. So it's like, right, I've just chosen this state and I've just chosen zoos, but there's no zoos or no posts about zoos. So let's just say, well, I'm going there with my kids. I want to see a zoo, or I want to go swimming, I want to go park. And then I could click all 3 things and it would just get less and more. Yeah, that's what you want, really, isn't it? That's proper navigation.
Really cool.
Yeah, so that's the new update for the new tweak for 3.17 is that rather than just refresh what's on the page, it does an AJAX request and asks the server to bring back a new query, essentially.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's really good. I think there needs to be a little bit more work done on that that filter to be able to select things. You see at the moment it just brings all the tags in, but it'd be good to be able to just have a selective amount of tags that it comes back with, or have some sort of filter system that allows you to choose which ones. And again, that would be you working with your client and the way that they collate data. So as Murray was saying, or John was saying, just have a set amount of tags that you would use, and then that would be your filter query. But yeah, I think it's got good potential, and it's going to get worked on a lot more, I think. But I really do like that. It's getting really easy for these big websites who've got a lot of data for people to be able to filter those down. So that's been fantastic. Thanks, John, for doing that. Okay. Any other questions from Murray, Paul, Kim?
About 20, but that's
Send me an email. Yeah.
no, it's all good. Thank you. That was very clear. I really appreciate it. Sorry for dominating so much of the chat. I just had so many questions. Sorry.
No, I like the questions, and just what you just brought out then just gave me the idea of like, well, hang on, what if I do both? So yeah, that's it.
Is there anything that just a quick question that I do have that I just thought I'd pass it because I'm in a live chat with people and maybe someone would know. If you scroll up on your page a little bit so you can see the full card. Oh, sorry, like the other way. I always get keep going up there. All those green buttons are not in line.
Yes. So I did this on another website I worked on last week. I'm trying to remember how I did it now. Basically, I put 2 containers inside a single container. Won't take me too long, don't worry. So this is a container. What I want to do is drop in 2 separate containers, and then I put these first 3 things into the first container, so they sit at the top, and then the other one.
The only problem, though, is that if your title goes to 2 lines, then that's going to throw it out as well. Because the reason why I'm just saying it is I wrote a JavaScript that actually lines everything up. You basically just attach it to your document. You just say, I want all the titles to be the same height. I want all the buttons to be on the same height. It's responsive, does everything. But I was just wondering if there was anything that that Elementor has actually done, and maybe I've just missed the feature.
So, good question. I don't know, because I was like,
sorry, to be
working on no. Like, there possibly is a better way of doing this. I can show you the way I did it the other day. So I've just put 2 containers inside a container, and this is me again, just sort of playing around with the Flexbox thing. And then what I've said in the main container is that space evenly. So as you can now see, oh, hang on, no, that's not right. Space between, no. Oh, hang on. I'm going to see, this is kind of go back to what you were saying, isn't it? So
based on what you're doing, though, couldn't you just, if you're actually doing that, then wouldn't it just be the same thing to just say, for the content, let it flex grow, and that way the actual content of it, the text will just stretch and push the button right down to the bottom on all 3 columns. Because
that's one of the things I need to press in here, isn't it? Is it grow or shrink?
You should just say grow. But you actually click on the sub element within the template for the text where it says the international gateway to North Queensland.
Mm-hmm. So not that part of it, not the container, the actual flex item.
Yeah. So the post excerpt, the next block down.
You're right. This is it. In this one, I know what I need to do. I need to align that to the start, to the top. Hang on. And then that. Is that what's that? So say that part again. Sorry.
They all go in the same container. You don't use 2.
Yeah.
And you pretty much just get you just click on the post excerpt in the first container and set that to grow.
So I'm just taking it back to all go in a single container, including the button.
Yep. Everything.
And then put that one to grow.
Yeah. Put that one to grow. And then get rid of that other container in that one. Yep. And get rid of
it here last week. Genius. So my question about this, because this is what I didn't know how to do when my client asked me last week, because I just did it that other way that I was trying to show, and I forgot how I did it, but it did work. And it basically meant that, the read more buttons did line up. Ignore that one that's floating there. This is how it will actually look. However, then when I went to I went to tablet, and it was still lining up there, which was fine because it was 2 columns. But then when I did it on mobile, I still had that big empty gap, and the gap kept changing. So if this one had there's a 2-line gap there, then a 3-line gap there, and then one of them was potentially like a 4-line gap or something. So that's like no gap there, but then 2 there, 3 there. Do you know of a way of fixing that? Do I just change it to not grow on mobile?
Yeah, just take out for mobile that it doesn't grow.
Boom. Okay. You're a legend. Okay, I'm going to go back to that website I built last week and fix that now. Right.
Murray, I did exactly the same as you did. I wrote a script that went through all the posts in the loop, found out the maximum height of a container, and then I went another loop and adjusted all to that height, which is
and I
basically
also set mine to also redo it so it detected only the ones on the row, and also resize on page resize.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's good that it got Flex. Flex does a lot of that stuff out of the box, which is good. It saved a lot of time for us. So that was good.
I think why I haven't tried that before is just because it says grow, which I think when it grows is going to make it bigger or stretch it out more, but it's not doing that. So I don't know if grow is the best word for them to use.
It allows it to grow. You're basically saying for that Flex item, you're allowing it to grow. So that if there is available space, and then if you put two things set to grow, it will share out what space it can grow.
Okay. All right. Genius. Cool. There we go. All right. All right. So you can just do the lesson next month, Marisa. Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for. So I can show you I should probably show you which one I did it wrong on. Well, Two Palms Media. I built their new website, which looks very nice, but we have the blog section, which is called The Lab. And then we have this part at the bottom that they haven't finished filling in, but it was just a little arrow. And then we have these glasses to say how long it is. And then the boss, Ed, said he wanted that to sit at the bottom. And I was able to do it the way I did it, doing two separate containers. However, when you go to mobile, it does now work. Maybe someone's gone in and fixed it.
Well, but based on what you're saying, it's detecting that even though it's on mobile and it's only one per row, it's actually saying, well, okay, there's 6 there, so find the largest one and resize all of them, which ends up just getting these ugly spaces. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Because I think I did it I think I actually created 2 separate blogs the way that I did the double container thing in the desktop and tablet one. This was a very busy job. I had to do things very, very fast. And then I think I created I duplicated the loop grid, and then I set the one on mobile to not have the double container thing that I did. That's why that one's fitting. But all I'm doing then is just putting the same thing on a page twice and just saying in the responsive mode, display this one on desktop and tablet and then this one on mobile. But now that you've taught me that, I will just jump into the back end of this website and not tell anybody, edit this page. Just don't tell Ed I did this, because I want it to look like I knew what I was doing on Thursday last week. So
we'll have to edit this part out then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think I'll be watching this one, don't worry. So excellent. Well, yeah.
That's been really useful. Thanks very much, John.
Yeah.
I've learned some a little bit as well. So it's good. Super. It is just after 7. So I think unless anyone wants to really, really talk more or ask some in-depth questions, I think we'll probably wrap it up tonight and then figure out for something for next month. We can just do like a general discussion or something like that next month.
Can I just say thank you so much? Tonight's been wonderful. There's a number of things I've learned. I feel like the oldest person in the room, yet I feel like I'm in kindergarten. So it's wonderful to share time with you guys and your experience. So I appreciate it greatly.
You're welcome, Kim. Thanks very much for joining us tonight. Okay, everyone, thank you so much. I'm going to do a wrap for tonight. So thanks, Murray, Paul, and Kim for joining us. Hopefully, we'll come up with some sort of subject for next month, and that'll be the last one for the year. I reckon we'll take December, January off to recuperate. So thanks very much, everyone. Take care, have a good month, and see you next month.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.